I'm in Fayetteville, Georgia. Let me grab Rosetta. So maybe I'll just in my lap.
What is community to you?
Community to me is, of course, all of the people working together for some common causes and respecting each other for those views. The artistic community is really important, I feel, in every society. The community taking good care of the artist in many ways is crucial to our survival. In Providence, I've worked a lot. And I remember when people used to try to get me to say, are you an actor or are you a singer? Well, what I've given to the community is both because I've had to. I've had to use every ounce of my talent to make a living. When I was an acting fellow at Trinity Repertory Company, I had to go into Boston to find enough work. I also had a job as a talk show host, producer of a public affairs show. The talk show was called Sunday Sunday. And I had everybody from, at the time, Mayor Buddy Cianci to all the different artists in the community, healthcare workers, politicians, homemakers, teachers. And I just covered everything that I thought the community needed to know. And ultimately, I got the TV station nominated for 5 New England Emmys because of a Christmas special that I wrote in conjunction with Mark Gentile, who now is a director on The View. What did the community give to me? It gave me Trinity Repertory Company because that became my artistic home, my beginning professionally. Providence gave me tons of places to sing. I could go out and sing in a club and walk away with $500 in my pocket, and I have enough to pay my band. In the 70s and the 80s, up until I guess 95, 96, all of a sudden, just there were no gigs. Club owners all of a sudden want to pay artists $100. All of a sudden, people were calling you to do a thing for an honorarium without realizing how much work it takes to go out and do a talk, to go out and perform a gig, whether it's one song or a whole night. I thought the good changes were, over the years, was the growth of the arts. We have come a long way with our arts institutions. I don't know how much the salaries for the artists have grown, though. The big organizations get a lot of funding. They've survived. But I feel like the talent still, the economy has not caught up with paying them properly. The community has not caught up with paying artists what they're worth. I look at my pension now, and I combined everything, but Actors Equity Association pays me less, and I've worked longer. I mean, if you work on Broadway, you probably have a pretty good pension. But I mostly did regional theater. I was trying to put my son through private school at Moses Brown as a single parent. I didn't know where it was going to come from because at Trinity, as an acting fellow, I made about $100 a week. So between that and Channel 10, I was $200 a week.
Mm-hmm.
No way anybody was going to live back then or any time on that and trying to put a child through school. I really loved working in Providence, and the clubs did pay me well. So that compensated, plus Boston compensated. And so I was able to have a decent life. I couldn't buy a house. I was considered an artist. And so, no matter what I made, it wasn't good enough for the bank.
Right.
And I was a woman and I was Black.
Mm-hmm.
I am. Mm-hmm. This is my doll that I made about 1977 because I started going into the schools. Buddy Cianci, Mayor Buddy Cianci at the time, wanted artists to go into the schools and be artists in residence. And I loved it because it paid me also. And I got a chance to be creative and share about how do you build your self-esteem? And because Black kids were still missing so much. And they sometimes were very sad and stuff. And I would go in and Rosetta and I would tell stories. The character, I play my mother and trying to get her to understand that she is somebody, that she's special, just like every living thing in this universe. It worked. And children, I have letters and I've kept them. And I have met youngsters, well, grown people now, on the streets in Providence saying, Miss Rose, I can't tell you how much that helped me, and it feels so good. The arts were the only place where I felt safe. I didn't get ridiculed. You know, growing up in the South and where I'm back now, all the bad names I
Mm.
was called and the conditions upon which I had to live and everything, it's pretty sad. And even today, um, I still have issues with it. You know, once something like that happens to you, it's really difficult. It's difficult to get it out. And many times I was afraid to take a step, and I didn't.
Why were you afraid? What were you afraid of?
That nobody cared and that I wouldn't get it anyway. It's a nonprofit organization, Waterspill Junction. I called it Waterspill Junction because you think about water spilling as rivers and streams and ultimately making it to the ocean possibly. And so water spill is like it comes to a junction and then you've got something whole from all these different parts. And art is like that. 1995, mainly to do projects that were going to highlight the African American experience.
Mm-hmm. And how was the process?
It was great. I've moved into just producing stuff that I wanted to produce and write and then share it with the community at large.
And the fact that you acquired 501c3 status helped you get more funding?
Yes. And I actually learned to write the grants. It allowed me to get some funding to do things that I've always wanted to do. For instance, I just produced a booklet that's called The Directory of Black Artists in Rhode Island. 150 or so Black artists did send me their information. And then Ray Nunez figured out a way to turn it into a PDF. I found the Black Lives Biz, which is online. So if you go to their website, blacklivesbiz.com, at the top, it has artists. And you click on that, and there's all of these artists in Rhode Island. So people cannot say anymore, well, we couldn't find any.
What's your most effective approach to art making?
I need a lot of time by myself. My process is a lot of research. When I wrote Menopause Mama, I read a lot of books about menopause and not have anybody else's input until I asked for it.
I want to now open a bit space for you to share. If you want to share something.
I have to say that I love Providence. Leaving was really, really hard. You know, just up and packing up and moving, to another state. I want the people of Providence to know how much I've cared for them and I love them.
Mm.
Some of my good friends, there's a group called the Spirit Women. They were there for all of the tragic things that have happened to me. They've been incredible people. And when bad things happen, I often came back to Providence.
Thank you for sharing that. That sounds very special to have that group of people as support. I'm sure that this day is also ready for you whenever you are to come back.
I think through all of the experiences helped me to become a better person. Walking in the shoes of others is so important to get to know how they feel. And sometimes you have to strip away who you are in order to understand who others are. You can't take and judge somebody by your beliefs. You have to learn what their beliefs are and what their culture is about. And if you had an open mind, you could learn something and make your life better.
Well, Rose, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Say hi to everybody for me.
I definitely will.
Mm.
Bye.